I'm going to start with Aaron. Aaron Gadiel, if you'd like to give us a brief report, please, Aaron, on the issues that came out of your group.
Sure. As is the story with many of these debates, it would be wrong to present anything that's said as consensus, but there was certainly good discussion amongst the variety of people we had in our group. And of course, we were focusing on making planning certain, efficient and outcomes focused. I think the most important thing that people did see, and there was a lot of consistency in this, is that you do need to have a strategic plan. It needs to be well thought out, and you need your strategic plan to guide your infrastructure investment. But also works the other way around as well. You don't know where to go. You can't have the development without the infrastructure. There was then some discussion and I think different views, but fair to say widespread recognition of the need for the market to be taken into account. The strategic plan isn't necessarily the end of the story because you need commercially possible development in order for the strategic plan to be realised. And indeed, when you're talking about both certainty and outcomes, it's important to understand what you mean by that. So, certain for whom? And the point was made that certainty to a community group might mean certainty that nothing will be approved that they don't want. Certainty to a development applicant will mean that, provided you meet certain very clear rules, you can expect and are entitled to an approval. An outcome can mean different things to different people in the system. So an outcome to a government authority can mean a gazetted plan, while an outcome to the industry and perhaps the broader community might mean built form that actually is built in line with the intentions and aspirations of the strategy at the beginning of the process. There was also debate about the strength or requirements or the degree of rules that you need, and there was some suggestion that perhaps there should be less rules, allowing for greater merit-based decision. But I'm sure that wasn't a universal view. There was also discussion about the degree and the need for non-conforming development. And I think it was generally accepted, but I'm sure not by everyone, that there would need to be some form of non-conforming development, although the controls around that, I think there's probably a diversity of views. But I think there was a general acceptance that the strategy cannot be a complete picture for what the development that will be required going forward. Also was raised in terms of the level of decision-making. There were some views that decision-making should be entirely local, but there are other views that there were issues that impacted on a regional scale, a state scale, and in some instances even a national scale, and you needed a decision-making process that was adapted and appropriate for that. And there was also a view about regional planning. Regional planning, in some people's views, should not be entirely state government driven. In fact, some people's views it should be local council driven. Of course, the counter view to that is that if the state government is expected to deliver the infrastructure, or if it's state infrastructure that's being heavily utilised through the growth predicted in a regional plan, then probably the state government is going to end up needing to have some sort of significant role. Again, it's one of those unresolved tensions that emerged in our group and I suspect will have emerged in other groups. But that's the potted summary. It doesn't represent everything that we discussed, but it represents some of the key issues that we talked about.
Just remind you that Aaron was talking in the workshop of making planning certain, efficient and outcome focused.